was reading this article from Ric Bucher, who now works for Fox Sports. And if you follow the NBA, I know there's a lot of folks who know who he is. Kyrie Irving's ideal landing place. 877-881-1053. Don't think that I am putting this out into the world.
Yes, remember, we are reporting this as a possibility.
Don't be mad at me.
Ric Bucher has covered the NBA for 20 plus years. It doesn't mean he's right. He's not Adrian Wojnarowski or Mark Stein or Sham Charania, but he has connections.
And it says Lakers, Knicks, Clippers, all supposedly interested if he doesn't opt in to the final year of his current deal. But one Eastern Conference executive suggested that the Dallas Mavericks offer the best fit because of their GM, their coach, and their star player. Irving had an apparent lack of respect for Steve Nash as a head coach.
Fact.
But Jason Kidd has a championship to his name, as does Kyrie Irving, while Nash did not. And Nico Harrison apparently already has a strong relationship with Irving from previously, his job at Nike, where Irving had his signature shoe. And then with Luka, a rival GM for the Mavericks, different GM, said Kyrie doesn't have to be the best player. He doesn't have to lead, but they do need a second scorer, and he can do that. And then a league source said the Knicks, that ain't happening, so that's not on the table. So what do you think about the Mavericks in this mix? Even if it's not likely to happen, rumblings are out there.
I don't like it at all.
I figured you would not.
I will root for it if it happens, as in if Kyrie's a Dallas Maverick, I'm going to root for the Mavericks to be great and for this to work out. But for him to not be able to work out with Kevin Durant, James Harden, I know Ben Simmons hasn't played a second, but now Ben Simmons, they have Seth Curry, they had Nick Claxton last year, who's probably going to get close to the full mid-level exception, who's a young center who, a guy that I would like to have on this team as a guy for 20 minutes as a center, probably off the bench. But think about what he has in Brooklyn. That's the team that he grew up loving and rooting for. People, I've talked about this before. In this article, it talks about Jason Kidd and the respect. Jason Kidd was his favorite player as a kid. When he was in the upper deck with his father going to the New Jersey Nets playoff games and going to the NBA Finals as Jason Kidd was leading his favorite team. So there has to be, I guess, more respect there than Steve Nash. But it's weird that he immediately disregarded Steve Nash. Like, this is what the scary part of Kyrie Irving is. I'm scared to death of it. I get it. In this perfect world where Kyrie loves basketball, he goes to practice, he gets along with his teammates, he wants to be part of something special and continues to work with that, it would be unbelievable. If you had the Kyrie Irving who you get for, 25 games a year.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt a lot too. I think we have to put out this. He doesn't want to play at times. He gets hurt and he can't play at times. I get he didn't take the COVID shot, and that I guess wouldn't be a big deal anymore. But there's a lot. He hates everybody. He can't get along, it seems like, with anybody for a long time. So I just look at it and go, hey, I just don't see how it's going to work here. I would love to get Kyrie Irving, and then all of a sudden he changes from the person he's been the last 7 years in the NBA or 6 years in the NBA to the perfect guy who stays healthy, because Luka and Kyrie together in a perfect world is great.
They're scoring 80 together a night.
Okay, which would you prefer then?
That.
Okay, let's take that off the table for a second, but you're right. I get that.
Maybe 100.
Okay, your options are he is the perfect model, teammate, human, everything like that, and he plays, 50, 55 games. Where he plays the whole season and he is a nightmare behind the scenes. But when it's time to play, he's a go.
Take it.
You're taking the second one?
I'll take the second one.
Okay.
I'll take the player for one season. I don't want to re-sign him again. And that is the deciding factor, isn't it? Of trying to extend him or considering that is how are you going to be part of this team, or are you still going to be you?
What if we make a trade and then he opts out? Like the Mavericks trade for Kyrie Irving tonight.
I don't think he would do. I think it's funny.
I'm fine with that if we got rid of those other contracts.
Yeah.
Like, if we sent off Powell, Bertans, and Hardaway, I'm like, fine, see ya.
But I just don't think he would, because like his name's already bad right now.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing. And like you said, Mike, there are too many people that he does have a relationship and respect for. So that's
Nico and Kid.
Yeah, Nico, Kid, and I think he would respect Luka and what this player is. I think a lot of the guys in the league that are the guys or that are the ones that are really respected, they all respect Luka right now. And so I would presume that. And I don't know that he and Kevin Durant hate each other.
No, they love each other as in people, as in they're not, I don't want to say best friends, but they're tight. In 2016 on the Olympic team, they devised this plan, and it wasn't so much it was Kyrie.
Yeah.
Kyrie, along with talking to Kevin Durant, who had just recently signed with the Golden State Warriors, said, I want to play with you. I think we can make it happen. Our contracts kind of match up. And DeAndre Jordan was part of the conversation too. And they all three kind of got together during the Olympics of 2016, and they were kind of like, hey, if it matches up and it works, we're going to do this. And the dream was for Kyrie to have it be with the Nets.
Yeah.
Because that was his team, and he wanted to go back home and be in New York, and he thought he could convince Kevin Durant because of their closeness and DeAndre Jordan, and it did all pan out. It all worked out, and they had that planned back in 2016. It just has been just so bad in Boston for them, and they finally got over it. And the other thing, too, is I just remember this. He refused to pass the ball to Tatum and Brown late in games. Like, he's like, I don't care if 3 people are on me. I'm going to take this horrible shot just to show these guys that I do not appreciate them and like them as teammates. And I don't know if that would happen with Luka. Maybe there would be this great respect, and he would respect Nico and say, I'm going to do everything I can for you because you've taken this chance on me. But I don't know. I don't want to deal with this problem. But if the Mavs pull it off for trading spare parts for Kyrie Irving, I'll go, all right, if this works, we're the NBA champs. If this doesn't work, where in the world do we go from here?
Well, I mean, to the playoffs.
Okay.
Like, even with Kristaps, you got to the playoffs, and he was very scarcely on the court, and Luka didn't really love him. Like, so you're still getting to the playoffs with Luka, man.
Okay, and so somebody asked this question to go along with
Well, that's
this.
That's not good enough.
I mean,
right
I know
now.
that he only played in 20-something games, and I know they had other issues with James Harden. They were in the play-in. They weren't in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They didn't make the playoffs this year. Kyrie didn't make the real playoffs until they won the playoff
Luka
thing.
will make the playoffs.
From the 917, stay far away from Kyrie. Best possible outcome is 1 title followed by full-on dumpster fire.
I'll take it.
That's what I was about to say. Is it wrong that I'm willing to dismiss the idea of multiple titles because you're like, well, you could get, and they also said best case scenario. But if you told me you make this deal for Kyrie, you win a title in the next 2 to 3 years, consequences be damned. I think I would do that too, which is probably not a great idea. And RJ will hear this clip and be furious because he's like, if you don't win 5, you're dumb.
I still like I still understanding the idea that you have the option to get rid of a lot of big contracts, take on a player for 1 year. This is the thing that sold me. Take on a player for 1 year and move on from him, and then have a lot of space to go add something to Luka in the following years, which Nico's showing it takes time to create something like this because of the disaster the Mavericks were in. So it's going to take time to do that. And so if you can make that happen, move on from three big contracts and then move on from Kyrie's contract too. Now you have space to go say, all right, now let's make a big run.
Yeah, because if it's anything of value, I'm out. Like,
I'm out too.
If you want Brunson, I'm out. You know, like, I would only consider this because the Nets are like, we got to get rid of him. But I don't think that will be the trade offers that he will get. I would only want it if you could just pick it up for things that you're like, we don't need that.
On June 29th is the deadline for Kyrie Irving to either say, I'm opting into $36.9 million or I'm a free agent.
So next Wednesday.
Yes. So I don't think obviously anything's going to go down tonight with Kyrie. Unless he says I'm opting in for you. Like, he also said he was opting into Boston too, and then opted out.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too is
and he said y'all made me
I would
say
need
that.
him to sign the paper.
I remember that.
Before you actually trade for him on this 1 year, a $37 million deal, because you might trade for him. And then he goes, well, it's June 29th. I'm a free agent.